Hello and welcome to our webinar, Create a World-Class Customer Portal. I'm Dan Anderson, working for Columbus, and beside me I have my colleague.
Hello, I'm Robin. I also work in Columbus as an advisor in the strategy team.
Today we will talk about customer portals, and we will use customer portal as a metaphor because it could actually be different types of portals for different target groups. It could be like a partner portal, could be a vendor portal, employee portal, and could be a procurement portal, order portal, self-service portal, community portal, knowledge portal. A lot of different kind of portals, Robin.
A lot of portals. And before we start, let's agree on the definition of a customer portal. A customer portal is a software interface that gives customers a complete visibility into their interactions with your company. And this webinar actually consists of two parts. Today, we will focus on the why, and in the next part, we will more cover the how. And the agenda for today is it consists of these three parts. First, we will cover the new customer and why we need to change. And then we will talk about how to master the more complex customer journey. And finally, how do we make my workday better for B2B buyers? So today we will focus a lot on the benefits of a customer portal from an end user perspective. And we will talk for approximately 35 minutes, and then, as you mentioned, Dan, open up for a Q&A session at the end. So let's start to see why we have to change.
And in recent years, we have seen many changes taking place. You all know that channels are changing from physical to digital, devices are changing from computer to mobile, the geographic market is changing from nearby to a global market. Our competitors, partners are changing. We are moving from well-known competitors to marketplaces such as Amazon, eBay, and many other B2B marketplaces. The offers are changing. We're going from like product to service offers. Our business models are changing. We are forced to challenge our own business models, from maybe a partner dealer model to owning communication with end customers. Sales models are changing, and we will actually touch upon that a little bit more in the next part of the webinar.
Indeed. And all of these changes are driven by the technological development. It is actually the catalyst for change. Cloud computing is nowadays a given thing, giving us endless computing power and scaling capabilities. It allows us to be everywhere to a fraction of the cost and time, and it makes integrations a lot easier. And AI and automation capabilities allows for more deeper personalization, marketing automation, and predictive selling. And the data-driven decision-making and DevOps capabilities that allows for continuous deployment and much more is now at our fingertips. And alongside better technology, we have data capture that has literally exploded. So you can start collecting massive amounts of data from business usage in a matter of hours. The challenge is still more on how to use that data in a valuable way.
And then there are the customers. They change. Their buying behavior, their needs, their demands are changing. And the expectation in business consumer and business to be has emerged. When the customers change, we have to change.
Yes, and the expectation from a B2B buyer today are much higher. They want to experience a buying process that is seamless, transparent, and simple, similar to a regular consumer experience. And therefore, it must be just as easy to search for information, order spare parts, book your repairs, see order history, delivery statuses in their professional role. And because of this, you need to get all those fundamentals in place and offer services that are fast, comfortable, and simple.
Because you don't get many chances today. 1 in 3 leaves your site just after one experience. And there is also a great value in focusing on the right things for the customers, because customers will be willing to pay more, drive increased loyalty, willing to share more information and personal information. the job is no longer to actually convince the customers to buy. It becomes more rather to establish a relationship and help them to buy. And Robin, we're also affected by changes in the distribution of age groups and their demands.
Yes, we are. And we just talked about that B2B buyers have higher expectations nowadays. And one of the big drivers is that we have had a big demographic shift in the workplace over the past 10 years. And if we start to look back to what it used to look like here in Scandinavia and UK and similar markets, the majority of the working age population were so-called digital laggards. But if we jump forward another 10 years, things now look completely different.
A completely different distribution. You meet both buyers and new decision makers who come from a generation that was born with a mobile in their hand and who have always been connected and used to search for information. They expect to receive the same information across all channels where they make their purchasing decisions, preferably packaged according to their needs. They expect you to know who they are, what they have bought, how they use your products, whether they talk to customer service or log into your customer portal to buy spare parts or supplement an existing order with something else.
And when looking more detail into the B2B decision makers themselves, we find that 73% are now actually millennials, and a third of those are in decision-making positions within their companies. And as part of their purchasing process, they make generic Google searches, they use vendor sites, they talk to their peers instead of sales reps, they watch videos online, all before contacting a salesperson, if they ever do. And when customers come in personal contact with your sales staff, they have already formed an opinion based on what you provide online. And if they could decide for themselves, 87% want to have this self-served buying experience online. Actually, for the less expensive items like spare parts and accessories, B2B buyers actually expect an entirely self-service experience online. And of course, this have affected the buying and selling process between companies as we know it. And Dan, maybe you can elaborate a little bit on why that is.
The big change is that there was a time when buyers contacted us early and asked for information. And as you know, that time no longer exists. Today, we as customers are seeking information, and when we have it, when we are ready for purchase, then we contact the seller. That's why it's key to have a more marketing-driven sales process today and self-service capabilities. And Gartner are actually saying that by 2025, 80% of the interaction between suppliers and buyers will take place in digital channels within B2B, which of course leads to changes on the sales side. And Gartner is also saying by 2025, 60% will have transformed their sales into one data-driven sales process where sales process, systems, and data analytics are integrated.
So what you're saying is that customers are generally better updated and know more when they contact you and have an inquiry about a new purchase. And as a sales organization, you are expected to change and become more data-driven to learn about your customers and then how to serve them better.
Yes. And it also means that customers are looking around for material and information in several channels, in your channels and in your competitors' channels, meaning that you have to be more alert and really mastering the customer service. Customer journey
and customer service. Yes. And as we said before, we are seeing major changes when it comes to new channels emerging, new business models and new technology, because this also opens up for new opportunities and options for your customers where to buy. We see new types of businesses starting up. We are seeing new competitors entering our traditional markets.
We also see manufacturing companies embracing new technologies to sell and distribute their own goods directly to consumers. Almost 3 out of 4 businesses in the UK now sell directly to consumers. So D2C sales now accounts for more than 16% of all manufacturing sales in the UK.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's quite a lot actually. And those manufacturers who have invested in such sales strategy see increased revenue, increased growth in their customer base, increased speed to market, and with this direct approach, they have much lower cost, higher profits, and better control of customer data that they actually can do something of.
Own themselves. And then we have, of course, marketplaces. That's worth a webinar in itself, you could argue. And it has really become a quick and convenient complement or alternative to expand your own e-commerce into new markets, maybe even replacing existing distribution channels even. And often you connect to several marketplaces to reach a larger client base. But it's also a threat because it will be easier for your customers to find products through these new channels as well.
So the key message here is you have to think how you make it easier for your customers to buy from you.
And coming back to customer expectations of today, websites cannot just support the buying process online, but it needs to embrace all the aspects of the full customer journey, meaning that it must complement your brand and help to create awareness. It needs to provide inspiration and engagement, certainly offer promotions and e-commerce functionality like how to make it easy to navigate and find the right products, provide a wide range of payment and delivery options, ensure frictionless and easy checkout experience to minimize cart abandonment and so on, but also care for customer retention and enable for these self-service capabilities. Because everything nowadays, as we mentioned before, the B2B buyer expects everything to be personalized for each individual and in all the touch points that they interact with, and it needs to be followed up by data. That sounds pretty easy, right?
True. But an issue is that most companies are not there yet. Most companies are in the first levels on this digital maturity model. You may have a reactive information site, like you have product information, you have documentation, but no order possibility. Most of the companies have passed that level today. So you have started to take orders and integrate it with an ERP system. Yeah, that is like a lot of companies have started that one.
Check.
So that is check. But the ones that are a little bit more mature, they will have also like a more focus on lead generation. They may have like integrated e-commerce and CRM. They have a focus on the full customer journey. They have an experience focus. They maybe have a full omni-channel focus. But that is fewer companies. And then we have the fourth step. This is when you actually becomes more customer-centric. You are starting to focus much more on the customer and personalize information for the customer, and embracing information from different kind of systems into like a customer portal or partner portal or vendor portal. And the fifth step, where very few are, is when you're starting linking IoT and AI to create intelligent service and become more predictive in service and sales. For example, if you have you're selling machines, and it's a lot of IoT data that you get from those that information, and think about how can we take that kind of IoT information, that data, and use AI to create new kind of services or just provide the information to the customers. So we'll also say that it's a huge movement on this model. The focus right now is very much on increased customer experience, increased focus on customer journeys. We see a lot of more questions, decisions, investments, upcoming and ongoing projects in the area of customer portals.
Indeed, we are seeing that. And Why this huge interest in making customer portal investments? Well, I'd say the overall goal of a customer portal is to simplify everyday work for customers, as well as on the same side, improve the efficiency of your sales staff. Some of the objectives that companies are aiming for is increase service for customers and thereby strengthening the customer's experience. Help to increase by using this customer portal the engagement of your existing customer base, help to create a stickiness effect, you could say, that your customers don't want to be without. And this will in the end help to drive customer loyalty and increased customer lifetime value, because we see that this is actually the new normal, meaning that contactless selling or hybrid selling is a natural way of interacting with your customers going forward.
But where do you start? You know you have to do something, but you don't know what to do. A good way to start is to do an analysis of where you are today and what is a reasonable step in your digital transformation journey. Here we illustrate it in a maturity ladder. And many companies that we meet are stuck somewhere in the first 2-3 phases, even in this model, which means delivering basic customer experience. Usually there's no real change in the organization, process, or customer experience, and technically you are you have quite a long way to go.
But when you say stuck, what do you mean?
Did I say stuck? Yeah, I did. For example, money to build a strong organizational silos. So every like business unit have their own system solutions that cover only like a fraction of the customer journey. And as the need of digitize more process and activities grows, so does the solution landscape as well, the number of systems. And the result is that over time you get many strong, independently functional silos with, for example, customer data spread over several applications. And this approach makes it almost impossible to scale and to become customer-centric for real.
Yeah. That's very true. Let's move on and look at some more facts on this maturity ladder. We have compiled findings that come from Litium's B2B survey that they conducted on over 500 B2B companies within the Nordics. And we will start by looking into what initiative the top performers are doing. And one conclusion is that top companies in this maturity model have done investments and changes over time, and the digital sales channel has actually become a key for their success. These companies are more synchronized internally, they work agile and in cross-functional teams, and have a customer-centric approach, and are therefore responsive to these macro changes as we see it.
And here is the proof. We see that 76% are in the initial 3 phases of this digital maturity. They see digital sales as a complement to traditional sales, or barely that. We see that leaders are utilizing more marketing channels as well, almost 5 compared to 2.
And they are more focused on value and have more defined cross-functional KPIs, meaning that leaders in these companies are more data-driven, and the entire organizations can work iteratively to focus on delivering continuous improvements. And we also find that 90% of leaders in these studies have mapped out their customer journeys, compared to only half of those in the earlier phases. And by that, they are more focused on customer experience.
So to summarize, Robin, the companies at the top end of the ladder are more focused on generating value. They're working through more with the customer channels. They have more KPIs. They operate in more channels, and usually customer portals is one of those. and certainly working more with the increased experience and brand throughout the full area of channels. So how do we do it? What should we offer the customer in terms of experience, Robin?
Yes, we have talked now quite a bit in this webinar already about that the B2B buyer today expects an experience that is seamless, transparent, relevant, and simple. And we need to offer speed and convenience just like the regular B2C-like experience. And from a customer perspective, you could also say, make my workday better. Today, we find that 62% of B2B buyers say that they can make purchase decisions solely based on digital content.
So as said a little bit before, your job should be made to make it easier and better for me as a customer. So please empower me. Don't make me think, increase my efficiency, and guide and inspire me. It's a matter of defining the pieces of the puzzle, sorting them out, and then starting the preparations, laying the puzzle. What I'm actually saying, identify what your customers want and actually deliver it.
Sounds easy. By mapping the customer journey with B2B sales services, you can really start to empower the customer. Empower them by giving them access to the data and the functions they need anytime, anywhere, literally on any device of choice. And in general, make it easier to order products and services by, for example, using personalized parts list for your registered machines, or simplify the checkout process, because B2B customers don't care about your internal complexity any longer. They want this B2C-like experience. And let the customers have their great control of what the order process looks like. That means that you need to visualize the full transparency in order details, status updates, delivery notifications, and much, much more.
So remember also that post-sale is pre-sales and a start to the next order. You can use product-related services to boost customer satisfaction and take advantage of upselling and cross-selling opportunities. The key to success is personalization or relevancy, as well as fast and flexible communication across all touchpoints. Create relevancy by connecting information to the customer's products based on the product's usage, based on the business relation, based on behavioral data. So, for example, if it's like a machine operator that are logging into a portal, show him data, how he is using the machine based on the IoT information. Because if he is managing the machine in a bad way, the lifetime of the machine will be less. So that's something he will learn about. And if it's some service personnel that are logging in, and you know what kind of products or machines or models they have, show him that information so it's relevant for him.
Yeah, exactly. And from that service perspective, a customer portal should then enable you to communicate with your customers on their terms. For example, as you said, based on the information we already know, you could provide smart FAQs that are personalized or dynamically change based on the customer's behavior and purchase history. And as products become more digitized, they can be replicated in a digital form and used to gather this data, as you mentioned. And this provides you with insights into product usage and other customer behavior. And based on that, you can start to identify specific customer needs and start to create these tailored services for them.
And then about internal efficiency. A good portal create more time for sales, and let sales maybe deliver value in other areas, maybe focusing on a higher segment of your customers. And as salesperson become digital, the role of the sales are changing overall. So the portal could include new tools and possibilities for sales. So the portal becomes a natural piece of the sales model.
And increased efficiency for the customer by empower them to do research and gather information on installed machinery and provide access to related services and spare parts at any time without requiring sales staff to book a sales staff appointment, and also make reordering easier as well as following up on shipment tracking, which will dramatically improve a buyer's efficiency and productivity. And lastly, different self-service tools will allow your staff to save time and reduce human errors caused by this miscommunication that sometimes happen when you interact with sales staff.
And when the customer engage with sales, if they do, they want that experience to be in a more problem-solving, alternative solutions, consulting manner. Sales reps should have their focus on more complicated or more important sales, where they can add real value during the customer buying process. You can also make use of new tools to communicate with your customers that might be more efficient. I mean, chat, we have customer notifications, Robin, we have guided shopping, cube browsing. But we can also use the portal to enable sales to, so you have like an interface for the sales and for the customers. So sales can prepare quotations, recommendations, and then in meetings, the customer are seeing those recommendations. So it actually becomes a tool for the sales force as well.
This hybrid selling model we touched upon earlier.
Yeah.
And a customer portal should also guide customers, give fast access to information like user guides, data sheets, more advanced product information, give out these personalized offers and e-learning content and so on. So it should be less time of that that your sales reps are involved in handing out.
So here's a lot of different kind of examples how we can increase experience for the customer, but it's always dependent on what is your goals and objectives and what is your customer groups.
Yeah, and what data and systems do you have available? I mean, these are tons of features we're spitting out. But...
And also, where are you in your maturity model? And this was actually the last slide in this part. So, Robin, what is the high-level summary?
Well, I'd say first and foremost, you should make sure the topic of customer experience should be a central part of the boardroom discussions in 2023. Make sure you have a clear vision and strategy, what level of customer experience your company should deliver. You should then also have a clear idea on how to embrace digital channels and the increased expectations that is coming from the next generation workforce, actually.
And Robin, I will actually activate the video now, so I hope you see us again, and I will try to turn to the next slide. As said in the beginning, this webinar is actually in two parts, and the second part is something we'll do after Christmas. We'll do it the 15th of January, 10 o'clock sharp. And if we now was focusing a little bit more on why, it will be a little bit more focused on how in the next webinar. We will talk about how do you become rewarded when having a portal, like decreasing churn rate and customer loyalty and all those things. We'll start with that. We'll also get deeper down into the customer experience. How should we actually do that? And then we'll also give some examples of customer examples that we have been working on. So you see what it could look like and what the customer portal means for different kind of companies. And then we will also be talking about how should you actually build the portal for speed and flexibility. Because you could start from different kind of angles here. So don't forget part 2. And if you want more, listening to our podcast. It's called the Commerce Snacks on YouTube, Spotify, and other channels as well. With that, we say thank you for us and thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. See you next time. Bye-bye.